Hey guys, what's up? My name is Fox and welcome to another video. With Volton finally out, we got access to one other really cool thing, which is the Relic Accessories. And Relic Accessories are so great because they give us access to more engravings and more stats, making our current classes just feel a tad better and more exciting to play, and of course do more damage. Now when it comes to gearing with Relic Accessories, aka buying them from the market board, there are a few mistakes that you can do. Having played on Russian servers for over a year, of course, has taught me how to actually gear my characters, which I've already done now on the EO version 2. In this video, I'm going to go with you step by step through how to actually go on about buying relic gear so that you don't make any mistakes and do not need to waste your gold on that. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Number 1. Plan out your engravings. Whatever setup you are going to go for, planning is key. It is vital for you to understand how many notes you need per piece and what you should be looking for. That's why planning is your very first and most important step. Watching this video is already part of your planning process. Lots of people are using spreadsheets to keep track of their gearing, yet I found this website while I was gearing, which made the planning much easier. Of course, I'm going to link it below in the description so you too can make use of this website. Keep in mind while planning that you do not necessarily have to stick to your whole plan because you might not find everything. This is where you need to remain flexible and adjust on the fly. So, first step out of all the steps is to settle on engravings that you want to run with your final build. Number 2. Acquire the correct books. Having additional notes from your engraving books is absolutely vital. You do not want to cheap out here since it will make gearing much more easier for you later on. I know legendary books currently are really expensive, but I don't see them going down in price anytime soon. I do expect Grudge to drop a little bit once we will get the bridge and people will acquire the legendary books to sell them. But everyone is currently realizing how important legendary levels of books are for your setup, so really try to grab them as fast as possible since prices will only go up and probably not go down for a very long time. My advice here is to stay away from Grudge as it is simply put too expensive. But my advice is to simply acquire your class engraving legendary books, that is if you need level 3 of it. And then something along the lines of Crystal, Hidden Master, Supercharge and so on. Any popular engraving that you could also be using on one of your alts, for example. But now that you got your books planned out, time to start looking at the market board. Number 3. Your first piece. This one is probably the most important advice out of all of them. This is the mistake many new players make that will just come back to haunt you. What should you buy first, what should you settle for first is really vital when switching to Relic Accessories. I cannot stress this enough because if you buy it in the wrong order, you might find yourself waiting for this one magical accessories that will maybe never pop up or might just never be affordable for you. What you need to understand is that the market board will not listen to what you need. You need to play around what's offered. This is why you absolutely need to get a class engraving plus any other useful engraving as your very first buy. Your class engraving will have a limited amount of players dropping accessories for it. The demand will be absolutely insane for class engravings as Legion raids do not have guaranteed class engraving drops. This step requires patience. Getting this piece will be your first step to making your relic setup. So remain patient, check the market board multiple times a day while you're locked in and settle for something that might not be the most optimal solution unless you're willing to pay a massive fortune. In my case specifically, I settled for a Lone Knight 3 and Master Brawler 4 ring with 57 quality. It's not the best piece possible, but I also didn't want to pay over 100,000 gold for it. This piece cost me a solid 18k gold, but it allowed me to finally start my journey to gearing up for the rest. Now let's continue on what to do next. Number 4. The stone. You can now either make your stone, which is what I did, or you can have a look at necklaces. That's up to you, but for now we're going to talk about the stone. Stones are frustrating, they're costly, and they're RNG. Yet you don't want to settle for something mediocre here. Depending on what you're aiming for, your goal should be to have a solid stone. A 7-7 for example, which is hard to acquire but not out of the world, is probably your most optimal goal. Anything above that is a gamble. Anything below that will make your setup cost more since you will need to acquire more notes, or might even make it straight up impossible depending on your imprints. Stones can also be rolled in different forms and don't need to come in 7-7 specifically. Most importantly, it's about the amount of notes. 14 notes are solid. They can also be spread out in a 9-5 fashion, for example. It is important to note that 5, 7 and 9 are all solid breakpoints due to our Relic accessories mostly coming in 3s and 5s, while some will be as 4. A bad stone can make your setup a headache. I myself rolled a 6-8 stone but made it all so complicated that I continued rolling. Luckily, or unluckily as you want to see it, I ended up with an 8-8 stone allowing me to go for cheaper accessories, but I rather would have rolled a 9-7. Number 5. The necklace. Now we're going to talk about the necklace. This will be your second hardest piece to acquire. Necklaces are the biggest RNG in the game due to having 2 stats and also 2 engravings, unlike everything else just having 1 stat. So finding a good necklace is very tough. My suggestion here is to take a loss of notes for a decent necklace. Settling for a 3-4 or a 3-3 necklace if you can will help you save lots of gold. It is also vital to note that the quality on necklaces are super important. The range is the widest and of course you will be having 2 stats on them. On rings for example, the range is only 50 from 0 to 100 quality, making them not as important in terms of quality as earrings or the necklace. The cap on necklaces is 500 per stat and the lowest they go is 400. That means there's a total difference of 200 stats that you can lose if going for a low quality necklace. As you can imagine, finding a high quality necklace with your desired engravings will be a big hassle. This is why you need to prioritize a necklace before any other purchases. If you did follow my suggestions so far properly, you should have one piece which could be a necklace but probably isn't. So now you acquire a possible high grade necklace with a 3-3 or 3-4 engraving, because otherwise this will be your next big hassle. Number 6. The Final Stretch. You got your first piece with your class engraving, your nice stone and a good necklace. The rest is going to fall altogether easily. You reach the simple part of your gearing now. As you already acquired the hardest pieces, you now have a super easy time fixing your whole setup. If you did not do what I mentioned earlier in this video, you might just be waiting for months to find that one magical piece you're looking for. A friend of mine is already waiting for 2 weeks now for a vital pointed and blessed aura setup for his paladin, and it's only now that he's realizing how expensive this mistake is going to cost him by not acquiring the class engraving on a piece early on. A very short TLDR of what I just said is basically first an accessory with your class engraving, then take care of your stone or the necklace, and then the other one, and then grab all the rest. This is guaranteed to be your best way to actually gear up with Relic accessories. And with that, we're at the end of today's video. I hope you guys learned something today, specifically when it comes to gearing up with Relic gear, of course. If you have more questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. And of course, as always, I'm also streaming nearly every day of the week, and you can find me on other social media like Twitter and leave me a follow there too. On that note, wishing you as always an amazing rest of your day wherever you live.